Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with, oh my goodness, the Paavo Järvi Erato box, none of which was ever released on Erato. It's actually Virgin Classics. Most of it was, anyway, because I've got all the original CDs, or most of the original CDs, and there's some really nifty stuff in here. It happens to be a wonderful box, particularly for Scandinavian repertoire and Sibelius. And if you didn't get it the first time around, this is a good time to pick it up because it's going to be cheap and who knows how long it'll be available. So there are, 31 fun-filled CDs, and let's see what we get. Well, we get a teeny tiny little booklet, an teensy little shred of a booklet with nothing useful in it. Well, no, it does actually give you a repertoire list hanging here in the back, this little leaflet. And the rest of it is CDs. Let's pile them out here. Oh, there they go. At least you can open it. Oh, original jackets. They all say Erato. They know none of them were Erato. It's amazing, isn't it? Okay, where do we start? We start with CD 1. Sibelius, Night Ride and Sunrise. Luanotar, which we just talked about, the best being with Phyllis Bryn-Julsen and Alexander Gibson on channels. But this is with Solveig Kringelborn and the Royal Stockholm Philharmonic. Well, it's very good. It's a good one. It really is. And the Lemminkainen Suite, which is first class. Absolutely terrific. So that's number 1. We're in good shape so far. Number 2, Searching for Roots, music from Estonia. Well, this is interesting. You've got Tubin Symphony number 11 in a completion by somebody else. It's only 9 minutes of what he wrote. I mean, who cares? But Arvo Pärt, you've got, yes, Necrologue. Oh, that's fun. Opus 5. And his Symphony number 1 from his earlier gnarly period. And Erkki Sven-Tüür, two double umlauted U's, Tüür. Searching for Roots, homage to Sibelius. And Insula Deserta for string orchestra. And Zeitraum, an interesting and different disc. And we've got Stenhammar Second Symphony, the Romanza original movement that Stenhammar extracted from his Serenade, which is marvelous. They should just do the whole Serenade. 2 songs from Idyll and Epigram, Opus 4, and Excelsior, a very exciting concert overture. So yeah, that's really nice to have. Miaskovsky, this is cello stuff with Truls Mork. The Miaskovsky Cello Concerto in C minor, which I find excruciatingly dull, but it has pretty moments. And the Prokofiev Symphony Concertant. This is with Truls Mork. And we have the Symphony Concertant alternative version of the 3rd movement, world premiere recording. I mean, there's some interesting stuff here, really. The cello playing is marvelous. The performance is really very fine. Kullervo, Sibelius' Kullervo, a beautiful performance of that. Nothing not to like here. It's also Royal Stockholm Philharmonic. The National Male Choir of Estonia. They're really, really good. They have this nice sort of, dark timbre. And we've got, Randy Steen, his mezzo-soprano, Peter Mate, baritone. Yes, lovely Kullervo. Leonard Bernstein. Oh, well, that's not Sibelius, is it? The Prelude, Fugue, and Riffs, Facsimile, Symphonic Dances from West Side Story, the Divertimento for Orchestra with Sabina Meyer playing the clarinet in the Prelude, Fugue, and Riffs, and Wayne Marshall with the City of Birmingham Symphony Orchestra. Boy, I just listened to this actually because I was thinking to myself, I don't remember that. It's good. It's good. Oh, this was always good. This is in the Life Ove Ansnes box as well. The Britten Piano Concerto, Shostakovich First Piano Concerto, and Ionescu's Legend for trumpet and piano. A really interesting bunch of things. The Britten's excellent, and it's such a wonderful concerto that nobody ever does. Arvo Pärt. The usual Arvo Pärt stuff. No, there's more. Summa, Trisagion, or whatever that's called, for string orchestra, 3rd Symphony, and then Fratris, and Sibuan's Song, and Festina Lente, and Cantus in Memoriam Benjamin Britten for string orchestra and bell. So you've got a really nice sort of overview of his entire evolution as a composer. It's a beautiful disc. It really is. It's really kind of cool. Sibelius' only little opera, the half-hour-long Maiden in the Tower. There's a maiden. She's in a tower. She doesn't like being in a tower. She gets rescued, sort of. That's it. That's the story. The Maiden in the Tower, the Peleus and Melisande Suite, which is gorgeous, and the Valse Triste. Excellent performances, by the way, better than the ones in the Bis edition. Don't tell anyone I said so. Yeah, but the Maiden in the Tower this is the one to get, actually. Who's the Maiden? Oh, it's Solveig Kringelborn again, and she's really, really good. It's terrific. I mean, the opera is completely forgettable. He wrote it for like some women's society afternoon outing, and they had a full symphony orchestra. Of course, people had them in those days, and they played it, and it's charming and ephemeral. But the other stuff is great. The Pelléas is wonderful. Sibelius cantatas. Well, this is worth having. If you like his choral music, you get Snowfrid, and Our Native Land, O Mama, and Weinon Versi, Weino's Song, which is fun, and Sandals, and the Hymn to the Earth, and the Song to Lemminkainen, which exists in 3,000 versions, and the choral version of Finlandia. So I just wish they had the Captive Queen here. They don't. The Captive Queen is wonderful, and it's got music from like the finale of the Second Symphony in it or something very similar. But that's okay. I mean, these are rare and unusual, and there are no texts, and they're in Swedish and Finnish, and that doesn't help, but, we don't care, do we? Grieg, Symphonic Dances, Elegiac Melodies, only number 1. Norwegian Dances, Elegiac Melodies, number 2. There it is, they're mixed up. And the Holberg Suite with the Estonian National Symphony Orchestra. First class. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Ballet Russe, bits of ballet, Russian dances and ballets, not music from the Ballet Russe de Monte Carlo. That's different. So these are just little sniglets of things by Tchaikovsky, Khachaturian, Shostakovich, Prokofiev, Glazunov, Lyudov, and Glinka and Borodin with the Polovtsian dances, and it's with the choir. Ugh, I hate that. That's okay. And the Orchestra Philharmonique de Radio France, that may actually have been on Erato originally. I don't remember. Barbara Hendricks, opera arias by Catalani, Tchaikovsky, Debussy, Bizet, Stravinsky, Cilea, Puccini, Bizet, and Strauss. Oh, the Capriccio final scene. Yeah, it's nice to have this back. It really is. And this is also with Radio France, so that's good. And for Barbara Hendricks fans. Arvo Pärt, more Arvo Pärt stuff. We don't need to go through this, do we? It's Arvo Pärt stuff. It's not the same Arvo Pärt stuff as before, but you do get the Second Symphony. So ultimately, you can get all 3 Arvo Pärt symphonies, which is actually nice to have. And then, Our Garden, Cantata, and Pro and Contra, the Cello Concerto, and Symphony Number 1, Polyphonic. It's here again, I think. Didn't we just talk about that? Collage after Bach and Perpetuum Mobile. Interesting Arvo Pärt stuff. Pärt is a good composer. I know people like to compare him to like John Tavener, who's a terrible composer, but there is a difference. There really is. Robert Schumann, Cello Concerto, Bruch, Kol Nidra, Bloch, Shlomo, Trolls-Bork, Radio France, Paavo Järvi, quite good. Yes, lovely. The Peer Gynt music. Now, there are lots of recordings now of the complete-ish Peer Gynt music, including the Blomstedt on Decca, which is sort of the go-to choice. And Salonen did a really banging one on Sony that's very, very sharp and exciting. And this is also beautifully done. It's excellent. It's with, all the normal people. Let's see, Camilla Tilling is Solveig. Peer Gynt is Peter Mattei. And it's with the Estonian national, national things, choirs and orchestras and whatnot. It's quite lovely. Sven-Tüür, Magma. Yeah, Symphony Number 4, Magma, for solo percussion and symphony orchestra. Do me. Oh, yes. It's exciting and fun. And you get a bunch of other things here. You get something called Eternity. Igavik is Eternity for male choir and orchestra. And The Path and the Traces for strings, dedicated to Arvo Pärt. So you know what that's going to sound like, right? And Inquietude du Fini, the anxiety of the infinite or finish or the not finite or the finite or I call it whatever they damn well please. I don't care. Symphony Number 1, Piano Concerto Number 1, the Brahms Piano Concerto with Nicholas Angelich and the Frankfurt Radio Symphony Orchestra, and Hungarian Dances for piano 4 hands with Frank Bailey. Oh, it's always nice to have Frank Braley. Browley. It's a good pianist. It's good Brahms first. I mean, there are lots of good Brahms firsts out there, but here is an interesting disc. Mahler, 4 movements. The Frankfurt Radio Symphony Orchestra. You get Totenfeier, which is the original version of the first movement of the Second Symphony. Not nearly as good as the revised version as the first movement of the Second Symphony, but it's interesting to hear once. Symphony number 10, the Adagio, just that. Blumina, that little snippet from the First Symphony that got extracted. And then Mahler arranged by Benjamin Britten, What the Wildflowers Tell Me, from the movement from Symphony number 3. Isn't that different and unusual? Really rather cool. Frankfurt Radio Symphony with Paavo Järvi. And the Britten arrangement is kind of, you reduce the orchestra a little bit. And, it's really kind of cool. Dvořák Cello Concerto. Herbert, the Victor Herbert Cello Concerto. Gee, that hasn't been coupled since, who did that? Yo-Yo Ma, right? With Court Mazur or somebody like that did something similar. But this is with Gaudier Capuçon, the Frankfurt Radio Symphony Orchestra. They're good, solid performances, and it's always nice to have another version of the Herbert. It really is, so that's okay. Nicholas Angelich again, Brahms Piano Concerto number 2 with the Klavierstücke Opus 76. Again, I like these performances. He's a wonderful pianist, and they play well, and they're not my favorites. That's all there is to it. I would rather hear Joachim Gilels or the new Nelson Frere, the newish, because he's dead, the Nelson Frere and Shai, which is just amazing, or, Archer Rubinstein, or, there's just lots of good Brahms piano concertos. I mean, really. Mahler, Symphony number 2. Oh, yeah. Does anyone pay attention to this recording of the Mahler 2? No, nobody ever does, but it's actually pretty good. It really is. I mean, it's fascinating to me. I mean, this got no attention whatsoever when it came out. With Alice Coote, Natalie Dessay, and the Orfeon Donostiara Choir. Gosh golly. I mean, if you're a Mahler 2 junkie, as I am, I mean, you got to have this. I don't remember seeing it singly. I really don't, but it's powerful and rather nice. Brahms German Requiem. Oh, there's so many of these. With Natalie Dessay and Ludovic Tezier, baritone, Swedish Radio Choir, which is fabulous, by the way, and the Frankfurt Radio Symphony Orchestra. And yes, it's again, we all have our Brahms German Requiems, right? I mean, there's just so much of this stuff, but it's good. It's just good. It's good. So, Järvi's a wonderful conductor. Bizet, Symphony at C. Oh, God, I love it. I don't care whose it is. I'll listen to it. And Jeu d'Enfant and Roma, Suite number 3. Now, that's Suite number 3. Yeah, that's worth having because you don't get many recordings of that. You don't get many good ones. And this is a good one with the Orchestre de Paris. So that's nice to have. The Fauré Requiem. Wow. Look at all this juicy stuff. Who's singing? Philip Jaruski, countertenor. Is the Fauré Requiem? Matthias Goerne. Oh, God, yes, countertenor. No, he's a very good countertenor. Let's not kid ourselves. Countertenorosity has improved over the years from the days of, what's his name? Bowman or whatever his name was. It just was excruciating. And the Cantique de Jean Racine and Elegy and Pavan and Super Fulmina Babylonis. These are all these of the Cantique. I sang the Cantique. Never mind. And then, yes, and the Pavan is here, which sounds like the Taster's Choice coffee commercial. Times like these were made for Taster's Choice. Okay. Fauré, Requiem. I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, do we need it? No. With the countertenor? Really, no. What can I tell you? Rachmaninoff, Symphony number 3. This is a good Rachmaninoff third with the Orchestre de Paris. It really is. Surprisingly, and the Capriccio on Gypsy themes, also known as the Caprice Bohemienne. Yummy. Absolutely yummy. I mean, the finale could be a little zippier, I think, maybe, but it's still really good. And this is the Rachmaninoff Symphonic Dances. It's just a good performance. A surprising performance. Again, this is what I remember when I first heard it. And no one was giving it any attention, but it's a fine performance with the Orchestre de Paris and the rock and the vocalese. Nice to have. Really nice to have. And look, Shostakovich Cantatas. Oh, boy, the execution of Stepan Razin. Oh, is that hot. That's for male choir and orchestra. It's a half-hour long, and it's in the same style as Bobby Yar. That sort of cross between, socialist realist, but not, but like turned on its head to create a powerful and epic statement. Oh, it's just marvelous. And then The Sun Shines Over the Motherland. Okay, so that's nationalism. I mean, not National Socialism. That's Nazi, right? No, wrong thing. Socialist realist. That's what it is. Socialist realist garbage. And The Song of the Forest. More socialist realist garbage, but it's actually pretty. I like the Song of the Forest. I mean, it's nice. It's just not really Shostakovich, but what the hell, you know? He could do it. He could do it in his sleep. And I think he may have here. But for Stepan Razin, oh, yes. Yes, you want that. You definitely want that. Dutilleux, Metaballs. Oh, I love Metaball. Metaball is wonderful. It was written for Cleveland and Zell, actually, who premiered it. And Sur le même accord for Nocturne for Cello and Orchestra, and the First Symphony, which is a gorgeous work. If you don't know it, it's wonderful. It begins with a fabulous Passacaglia on a very easy-to-remember theme. Dum bum 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 bum. Okay, you know, go hum Dutilleux's First Symphony. Really beautiful. It ends quietly. That's why it's cursed. But yeah, go for this. It's terrific. Absolutely terrific. Let's see, a disc of Renaud Capuçon, violinist, who I find to be rather overrated, doing the Lalo Symphony Espagnole. Ugh. You know, Sarasate's Zigeunerweisen and the Bruch First Violin Concerto. The performances are okay. I just don't think he's anything special. I really don't. And finally, the Franck D minor, Ducat, Saucer's Apprentice, and Roussel's Third. This is a bonus. And it is quite a bonus. I mean, you know, with the Orchestre de Paris, the Franck it's the first release of that. And it's like amazing how much he did. And, you know, he did a lot of this stuff at the time of the, you know, classical industry total hysterical collapse thing. So some of these things, well, with a bonus, the Franck wasn't released at all. And a lot of these other things were just left to languish. In other words, they may have been released, but nobody knew about it. And they were deleted as soon as they were issued. And, you know, let me try and get this back in. So this is, I have to tell you, an extremely distinguished set full of really interesting and not overplayed repertoire. And we are lucky to have it. So if I were you, and, you know, I'd grab this as soon as possible. You know, it's kind of fascinating. If you have this and you get that Telarc, you know, that box of all the Telarc stuff with Cincinnati, you've got really quite a distinguished discography already. Then there's his Beethoven cycle, the RCA stuff he did. The Sibelius cycle was nothing special. It was in Paris. That was, ugh. And now he's done everything. He's done like Tchaikovsky and Bruckner, but I really don't care about that stuff. This is the stuff you should care about because it's special and unique and different, and it belongs to him much more than the stuff he did later as kind of a generalist. I can do anything you can do, I can do as uninterestingly. So let's go for it. Go for it, for heaven's sake. It's a terrific box. And keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.